Hi, so we are at Kezu today. We are artisan cheesemakers based in Chennai, and we're going to be making halloumi today. Mumtaz and I'm Namrata. I'm one of the founder partners. So we're going to be showing the halloumi. So we started off with milk, which was as a liquid, and we added the rennet to it. So now if you see, the milk has actually solidified. Why do we do this process? Is because milk has only about 10% solid, and we are trying to separate the solid from the liquid. So this is the second most important stage in the cheese making, and it's called cutting of the curds. Very simply, that's what we're doing. These are called cheese curds. They're often confused with curds as in tair that we normally know, but these are the solid part of the milk which has come together. So we're going to slice them in vertical and horizontal slices, cut them into cubes, and we're trying to free up the liquid. This is the first step, and then we're going to start cooking the curds as well. So if you now see, they're pretty much like they're broken down. If I can move this around, the whole thing is actually solidified. So we're going to make some more cuts, and we're going to start cooking this. Turn the gas on, Mumtaz. What happens for the cooking is, if I lift some of this curd now, it's actually a very soft structure. So we're going to start cooking it, and we're going to cook it for about 20 minutes where this sort of solidifies and becomes a little more stronger. Just going to give this one gentle stir. In that, you will have more long pieces. We're just going to break that. Free up the sides. The temperature that we're looking at is, we're going to cook this curds to about, right now it would be at about 30 degrees. We're going to go up to about 50 degrees centigrade, and we're going to cook the curds. And like I said, cooking the curds basically means that the curds are going to shrink and they're going to become more stronger before we drain them out. If you look at it, even now there is a lot of water that has already been released. So for the next 20 minutes, all that we're going to do is stir them gently and remove as much of the solid from the liquid as possible before we go on to draining them. We can see it's back to liquid again. There's a lot of liquid in the pan, and well, the cheese curd now looks like this. So this was cooked for about half an hour. The whole cooking process, like I mentioned, was to drain out more of the liquid, and again, now we have successfully separated the solid from the liquid. What we're going to do is, now we're going to drain this out and press it. The thing to remember over here is that only about 10% of milk is solid, so which is why you will see a lot of whey that's remaining. And so we were working with a 25-liter batch today. So we'll have about 2.5 kilos of cheese curds that we're separating out. This is going to be pressed for about 1 hour, and that will lose even more water. And there is a lot of whey from which we'll be eventually making a ricotta. So if you remember, I showed you the texture of the cheese earlier was really soft and was like a curd. And if you look at it now, it's something like this. It's almost slightly elastic, and the consistency of scrambled eggs. That's usually the texture to look for. You look for a slight consistency of scrambled eggs. So this is to be left behind. As you can see, it's draining a lot of whey. So in 1 hour, the cheese, because of the heat and also because of the rennet and everything, is going to come together like a big block, which needs to be cooked again before it's salted and before the halloumi is finally ready. So we're going to put this aside, and while this is draining, we'll quickly make another cheese, which is the feta. So we left it where we took out the cheese curds and we left them to press. Yeah, so the pressing was a method in which we take out the extra liquid from them. So after that, we cut the cheese. The pressing happened for about 1 hour, and the cheese was put back into the hot way. Yeah, so which means the halloumi is sort of double cooked. We are going to remove that and we are going to put this in a saturated brine. When I say saturated brine, it's every liter of water has about 70 to 80 grams of sea salt. Now, in cheese making, we only use unprocessed sea salt. Salt with iodine cannot be used for cheese making. So this is pretty hot. So at this stage, you need to be really careful. If you're making halloumi, you need to, the thing to look out for is the cheese needs to be cooked all the way through, and they're kind of spongy, elastic to touch, and I'm just putting them straight into the cold saturated brine. It's going to stay in that for about 10 minutes and it's going to soak up all the salt. Now halloumi, interestingly, is a really salty cheese. Traditionally, halloumi comes from Cyprus, where it's made with a mix of goat, cow and sheep milk. We make our halloumi completely with cow's milk. You know, it's very difficult to find sheep and goat milk here in Chennai. We try though. So once it's all cooked in the way, I'm just going to leave that in the brine to soak up the salt, and that's pretty much the halloumi is going to be ready. After that, you know, the reason people love halloumi is the texture and the fact that it can be pan fried or grilled, and it's a pretty sturdy cheese. Now, because the cheese is made at such high heat, it can withstand that kind of temperature as well. So we're going to let this rest for about 10 minutes and then we're going to go back and grill some halloumi on a pan. After the couple of hours that we've been spending doing a lot of things, the halloumi finally looks like this. So after taking it out of the salt water, the halloumi is a nice big block. So halloumi is beautiful because it's a cheese that can be grilled. It gets really nice and melty inside and develops a beautiful crust on the outside. So I'm just going to see if so we like doing this on a cast iron pan. The pan is now nice and hot. I'm just going to put this on the pan. Halloumi is like that, you know, the clean palette that you can add a lot of other seasoning. You can, our favorite way to have it is grilled halloumi with pineapples, fresh halloumi with feta and melon, with melon and mint is also really nice. I'm told that the Turkish like to have their halloumi raw, while the people from Cyprus like their halloumi grilled. So I'm just going to turn this and you will see that it has some beautiful marks. Yeah, so as you can see, it's a cheese that you can sort of beautifully cook. If this was a mozzarella or a cheddar, it would melt away. So halloumi is not like that. Halloumi is something that can be just made on the pan, can be pan fried, can be grilled, it gets a beautiful color on the outside. Yeah, you can see the halloumi is beginning to sort of brown up and you can see those nice grill marks.